All right, hello guys, Silas Ubekwe here, and in this video I'm going to be briefly giving you an in-depth analysis of the CBN, eNaira, and Speed Wallet. So I'm going to be giving a breakdown of the Nigerian eNaira and what the CBN has done and its effect, right? So a lot of people have been asking me, what do you think about the eNaira? What do you think about the eNaira? Is it a cryptocurrency? Does it have a blockchain and all those? I'm going to answer all those questions, and I may not answer all in these videos because I want the video to be as brief as possible, but I'm going to try to give an analysis of the CBN eNaira and the Speed Wallet. All right, so let's get straight to business. So what am I going to be talking about in this video? What is eNaira? How does the eNaira work? How can eNaira be bought and sold? And is eNaira a good investment, right? Okay, so these are the things I'm going to be talking about. The first question is, what is eNaira? eNaira is the Nigerian digital currency issued and regulated by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Now, it has the same value as your physical Naira. Now, what that means is that if you have 1 Naira note, or if you have 100 Naira notes, is equivalent to 100 eNaira CBDC. That's Central Bank Digital Currency. So eNaira is a CBDC issued by the CBN as a legal tender. It is the digital form of the physical cash and can be used in the same way as cash. Now, one of the things that we need to understand is online transactions. One of the major difference between people would ask, what's the major difference between an online transaction and the eNaira? Basically, one of the major difference is the mechanism that they work with. While the eNaira functions as a digital currency, it actually moves. The currency is created and it actually moves, but when we are dealing with online transaction, it's just increment and reduction of values, right? So what that means is, if I want to send someone $2 or 200 Naira, forgive me, and I use the eNaira will leave my wallet to the person's wallet, as the case may be. But if I'm going to do transfer of 200 Naira to someone else's account, the bank would only reduce my balance by 200 Naira, the numbers, and increase the other person's own by 200 Naira. So it's basically one of the major differences. But let's just get straight to how it works. So bootstrapping the eNaira. Now, when we are talking about bootstrapping, we are talking about the shareholders, the players of the eNaira community, right? The whole eNaira system, the setup, who are the players, who are the shareholders. Okay, so we have the first thing is the minting. Who creates new currency? Creating new eNaira is the responsibility of the central bank. They create, they mint, they issue, they distribute, and they are the ones that have the ability to destroy. So that is the CBN. The CBN are the ones in charge of the minting, the distribution, and the burning or the destruction of the currency. And they are also in charge of managing the transactions. They're in charge of managing the transactions. Then the next players are the financial institutions and government agencies. Now, financial institutions are banks. At the end of this video, I'm going to be telling you exactly what the role of the financial institutions are supposed to be in the eNaira ecosystem, right? So the banks and the government agencies are also very, very key players in this eNaira setup. And one thing we also need to understand is the government benefits the most from the launch of the eNaira. And I'm going to explain that as we continue. Then the next players are the merchants and businesses. Now, merchants simply means every other businesses that is running. Now, so instead of having a corporate account, you're going to be having a merchant application on the Speed Wallet. So basically, this is customer to business, business to business, business to customer. So every business that wants to receive money, just the same way you use your current account or your business account to do your transactions, that's exactly how you're going to use the eNaira for businesses and merchants, right? Then the final players are the consumer wallets, the consumers. That's the average Nigerian citizen. And I repeat, the average Nigerian citizen, because the eNaira is majorly for the Nigerian market. All right, so how is the wallet structured? Now, there are three different types, or okay, there are about 4 different types of wallet system in the eNaira. The first is the tier 1. The tier 1 is actually for people that don't have an account, a bank account before, no existing bank account, right? So you can only do a transaction of 50,000 naira sending or 50,000 naira receiving. That is the highest that such accounts can do, right? That's the highest such account can do. And the highest amount of money that account can hold is 300,000 naira. That's the cumulative balance, right? So the minimum requirement for tier 1 is your NIN or your phone number. So basically, you're just presenting your phone number and your NIN number, right? That's your national identity. And some of the things you need to present before this account, this wallet can be verified. And I'm going to show you how these wallets are verified, so you know exactly how it works. So you present your passport photograph, your name, your place and date of birth, gender, address, and like I told you, your phone number. Your phone number is very, very, very key. Tier 2 accounts are for existing account holders in any of the banks. In any of the banks. Now, you have a daily transaction limit of 200,000 naira, and to send and to receive, your cumulative daily balance is 500,000 naira, right? So what you'll be presenting for this is your BVN. So you must provide your BVN and every other requirement of tier 1. So you're providing passport photograph, your name, your place, date of birth, gender, address, telephone number, and BVN. Now, the maximum transaction you can do with this wallet, tier 2 wallet, is 200,000 naira daily, right? So tier 3 is for those that are doing up to 1 million naira. You want to trade, you want to send or receive up to 1 million naira. That is the characteristics of tier 3 wallets, right? So you can do 1 million and receive 1 million. The minimum requirement also is your BVN. All right, so we have the tier 2 requirement. The requirement for tier 3 is all of tier 1 requirement and all of tier 2 requirement. Now that means you're providing your passport, photograph, your name, your place and date of birth, gender, address, phone number, BVN, ID card, evidence of ID, right? And also there is going to be physical verification. Tier 2 requires, tier 3 requires physical verification plus full KYC. KYC simply means know your customer as stipulated by CBN anti-money laundering regulations, right? So then the third wallet, the fourth wallet type is for merchants. That's the business account and the rest of them, like I explained earlier. So those ones have also a daily transaction limit to send of 1 million naira, to receive also 1 million naira. Although there is no limit to amount they can sweep to their bank accounts. All right, so this is basically what the wallet structure is like. So how is this currency created, right? Okay, for this currency to be created, it goes between the banks, right? The banks and the CBN. Okay, so the banks generate an ID, the OID. They generate the OID. And after generating the OID, this is sent to the real-time gross settlement, which happens at the central bank. That's your RTGS. Now, what this means is that the bank sends money from the bank's current account to the CBN. And this goes through the RTGS, right? And let's say the bank needs 10 million e-Naira. They are going to send 10 million cash, 10 million Naira in cash to the CBN for CBN to credit them with the e-Naira, right? So this request goes to the DCMS. Now, what's the DCMS? DCMS simply means Digital Currency Management System within the CBN. So the DCMS within the CBN is the Digital Currency Management System, and they are the ones that review the application, and upon approval, they will mint the token, they will mint the e-Naira, the digital currency, and transfer it. Because when they mint it, it is saved on the stock wallet of the CBN. Then they transfer it to the financial institution's treasury wallet. That means they transfer it to the bank's wallet. Then the bank can now distribute. So what it means is, how it works, the banks create an order, send the money, the cash, to CBN through the RTGS and to the DCMS, Digital Currency Management System. And these guys review the order, approve it, create the digital currency, which will exist in their wallet, then they forward it to the bank's treasury wallet. So how does the exchange process go? So let's assume now that the bank wants to, they finish the transaction, they've sold the e-Naira to whoever wants the e-Naira, but their customers need cash. So the exchange process works in the reverse way the minting process works. So the financial institution logs into the DCMS and they request to return e-Naira, right? So what happens here is that DCMS would forward the token, the e-Naira that was sent by the bank, will forward it to the stock wallet of the CBN, and they would credit the bank with Naira into the bank's current account. So the transfer of e-Naira is done from the treasury of the bank's treasury wallet to the CBN stock wallet. So anytime you hear about stock wallet, it's simply talking about the CBN's e-Naira wallet. Okay, so how do you create an e-Naira wallet? Okay, so for a customer that wants to create an e-Naira, that's the average Nigerian citizen that wants to get on board and create an e-Naira wallet, the way you're going to do it is to download the Speed Wallet on Google app. For now, that's the required way. Download the Speed Wallet on Google app. So the first thing the user does, or the customer does, he downloads the Speed Wallet. After that, before this, the banks would have sent you a code. Now, what does that mean? Let's assume a user uses about 3 or 4 different banks. The banks are going to send him a code. Now, the user will use that code to log in. That code is necessary. So the bank will send every user an invitation code. And this code would have been pre-generated for some certain customers, right? So if you don't have this code, you cannot create an eNaira wallet. So the bank must give you a code. And this code would have been linked to your BVN. So when the customer receives the invitation code from the bank, he downloads the Speed Wallet. Then he enters the code. If the code is valid, he can proceed. If not, he stops there. He cannot go beyond that. But if the code is valid, he goes on to enter the requirements, the tier 1 requirement, as we stated earlier, your BVN, date of birth, email, and password. Then if it matches with the details of your code, then you can proceed to create the eNaira wallet. So this is for the average user. Now, but if you want to fund your eNaira wallet, what do? Very simple. You log into your bank account. You log into your bank account. Upon logging into your bank account, you are going to be required to initiate a transaction. You would initiate a transaction, and upon initiating the transaction, you would be required to transfer money, Naira, from your bank account app, to the eNaira wallet. Very simple. So once you do that, your Naira is converted to eNaira on your app. Mind you, all these things happen from app to app, from app to app. So this is the major way to fund your eNaira wallet, right? All right, so going forward, how do you exchange your eNaira for Naira? So you have your eNaira, you're finished using it and you want to exchange it for Naira. You want to be able to have some cash, right? So you log into your eNaira wallet and you send it to your bank. Now you can send to another bank. You can send to, excuse me. You can send your eNaira to another bank. You can send it to your own bank. But whatever happens, if you send eNaira from your eNaira wallet to a customer's bank, your eNaira leaves your wallet and the other person, the customer or your Naira account is credited with Naira. But how do all these things happen? I'm going to explain that after we see how to onboard a merchant. Now, for businesses and merchants that want to use the eNaira platform, the banks generate and send the businesses pre-generated codes. Okay, for instance, now I use GT Bank and they've sent us a code for onboarding the merchant eNaira wallet. Now, once the merchant receives this code, the code is now going to be used for the onboarding process. That means to register and create an account. So the first thing, the merchant downloads the Speed wallet, enter the code if it's valid. Now, this is one of the major areas and one of the major pluses of the eNaira, because it's going to really help the government, especially in tax issues, right? So the merchant will be required to impute his TIN, task identification number. This way you would not be able to evade tax. And your email, password, and the business category, and a legal business name. A legal business name. Legal business name means it must be registered with the CAC. So if you put all of these and it tallies with the code that was sent to you, then you can go ahead. Mind you, you cannot create a merchant eNaira wallet if you don't already have an existing business or corporate account. So after these things, details have been verified, the eNaira wallet is created for the merchant. So how do you exchange your eNaira for Naira? Now, the CBN has made it clear that they don't want third parties to be involved in exchanges. So the CBN said that eNaira wallet holders will not be allowed to send eNaira to a bank or a merchant that will give them cash directly. So the CBN is frowning at eNaira to cash, right? So how do you get your money? You send your eNaira to a bank wallet and you are credited, right? You're credited into your account. The only persons that can give you cash is for agents, actually. But basically, if you want to exchange your eNaira, the best way is from your eNaira wallet to your bank account. Then from your bank account, you go ahead and withdraw. Right. So how do you buy eNaira from an agent? If you want to buy eNaira from an agent, that means you have cash with you. You hand over the cash to the agent, verified agent, obviously. And the agent could be the banks or the merchants. Right? Now, these guys log into their e-wallet, they transfer the equivalent of the cash that you sent. So you see, it must be account to account. So from their eNaira wallet to your eNaira wallet, right? Then you get a notification and you receive the token, right? So you can buy the token with cash, right? But it's not going to be easy. You are not to sell. You can't sell your eNaira for cash. The bank, the CBN frowns at it and have stated clearly that it is not allowed. All right, so disbursement of government funds is one of the major applications of the eNaira, one of the major applications, right? So the government can go ahead and disburse funds directly to the persons that needs it. So for example, salaries for federal government, state governments, and the rest of them. So the MDAs, the ministries, departments, and agencies, they have their own eNaira wallets. So the MEDAs log into their own eNaira wallet, initiates the transfer, and sends the value, the salary, intervention fund, or whatever fund they wish to do through the IPPS, NISAL, and the rest of them to the people or the citizens' eNaira wallet. So mind you, is from eNaira wallet, MDA eNaira wallet to consumer eNaira wallet. So if you don't have an eNaira wallet, you may not be receiving, if the payment is done for, if the MDA is paying with eNaira, you may not be receiving your own transfer. Excuse me, yeah. So another advantage is the payment to Government TSA, Treasury Single Account. So when users, presently we all know that the TSA is being used seriously to pay most of the bills, NEPA bill, light bill, water bill, and all the major bills, right? Including some of the fees, NECO fees, NECO, and all those payments, right? So the eNaira wallet holders can use their eNaira, to initiate this transaction, and it goes straight to the government's coffers. Right. So, like I said I was going to explain the roles of the bank in the eNaira program. Now, the banks has 4 roles in the eNaira program because they are the major players. They are one of the major players after the CBN. Right. The first job of the bank is to market and promote the eNaira. So banks would market and promote the adoption of eNaira as a digital version of cash to existing and potential customers. Also, the bank will facilitate the onboarding. Now, remember I said that before you create your eNaira wallet, you need to receive a code from the bank. So the banks, this is another thing they do. They provide support and onboarding for their customers. They're also in charge of distribution of the eNaira, right? So remember I said if you want to get the eNaira, you send your money to the bank. The bank will now process it by sending it to CBN through the DCMS, and the CBN funds the bank wallet. The bank now goes ahead to fund the customer's wallet. So bank will take and distribute eNaira to Nigerians, a digital version of cash. They have to implement necessary integrations for efficient distribution of the eNaira. Also, they are supposed to ensure KYC compliance, that everybody that is on the eNaira is known, know your customer. So the banks are going to ensure that they know every player on the eNaira platform. Okay, so in conclusion, the eNaira is a CBDC, central bank owned digital currency, and if embraced will be very effective and help in the business of the government as it simplifies the process of implementing monetary policy and government functions. And it also minimizes the effort and processes for other government functions such as distribution of benefits or calculation and collection of taxes. Now, to the major questions that a lot of people have been asking me, is eNaira a cryptocurrency? I'm going to answer this question in my next video. Until then, please, if you gained value from this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button and drop your comment or your post, and in the nearest possible time, I will get to you. Thank you very much. God bless you. I remain Sarah Smeko.